Eskom is condemning what it's labelled a hostage incident in Zonkizizwe, Ekhurhuleni. It says customers were forcing employees to unlawfully restore supply. Let's find out more from Eskom spokesperson Mantshantsha. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Can you give us a little bit of context around exactly what happened to these employees in Ekhurhuleni?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. Two Eskom technicians were working in the Zonkizizwe area, that's in Ekhurhuleni or Ekhurhuleni on the east rand, where they were restoring supply to a certain area. They were confronted by people who live in another area, kidnapped them and dragged them and demanded they go fix a transformer that has been off for a while in that area. Eskom has not been fixing a transformer in that area because of non-payment and illegal connections. That is what happened. But I'm quite happy to report that our employees are now safe. They managed to escape after about more than an hour's ordeal. The other concerning situation, though, is that one of the employees lives in the area. And so these people do know where the person lives, and they did also follow him to his place where they surrounded his house. We are still trying to establish the exact situation at this point.
Will you be pressing charges as Eskom?
This is definitely a criminal matter, and we have called the police, and they are cooperating with us. It's definitely a criminal matter, both the kidnapping and the intimidation, but also the illegal connections themselves. So we are indeed pressing charges against the police. But more importantly, we urge the community and the leaders to protect Eskom employees and infrastructure. Because without that, there will be no electricity.
Mr. Mantshantsha, if I could just ask you to remove your hand from the microphone of your device. We're struggling to hear you there.
Sorry about that.
That's much better. No, that's perfect. You can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. More than just the illegal connections. The people in the communities, we urge them to work and protect Eskom's infrastructure and employees, because we will not be sending Eskom employees to areas where their safety cannot be guaranteed. We are not in the business of gambling with the lives of our colleagues. So they were fixing a legitimate customer when they got kidnapped by others. This is totally unacceptable. We have seen an increase in the number of these incidents. Last week at Diepsloot, our colleagues again were pelted with stones while they were removing illegal connections. The same thing happened where other people got kidnapped again at Bronkhorstspruit also last week. You know that 2 weeks ago we had 2 security guards brutally murdered at Philippi in the Western Cape. Again, they were there to restore supply to an area. If it becomes this unsafe for Eskom to send people out, we will not be able to help people when they run out, when the electricity network hits faults.
Mr. Mantshantsha, we've seen Eskom removing illegal connections all across South Africa as the system has been experiencing severe strain as cold weather hits. That means a lot of your employees are out in communities removing illegal connections, and as we've seen, communities may take matters into their own hands, as we've seen in this incident. What will you be doing to try and safeguard Eskom employees, short of sending army or police members with each team?
We do have to, indeed, we have a duty to protect all our employees, and in volatile and violent areas, we have to send in armed escorts. Now, we do that, and that's the only thing we can do to ask the police and to find a very expensive armed protection for them. For example, it costs a minimum of 30,000 rands for a few hours to send a team of armed escorts to protect our employees. This is becoming unsustainable and impractical, particularly because those areas don't even pay for the electricity in the first place. And it's going to cost people legitimate customers who have the best interests of this country at heart. So we do urge community leaders, we do urge members of the community to do everything they can to safeguard the
Right, Mr. Manchanja, I'm going to ask you one more question. We did lose your audio there again. But before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about proposed tariff hikes. So consumers have been warned that they could pay more for electricity after the 69 billion rand blunder by NERSA. The regulator admitted it didn't follow the prescribed procedures to determine Eskom's new tariffs. And the power utility, you as Eskom have now, you are challenging a number of previous determinations. But it seems that consumers are always on the shortest end.
The unfortunate situation is that electricity costs a lot of money to produce. Yes, we do have our own inefficiencies as Eskom that we are addressing, but the unfortunate situation is that indeed it does cost a lot of money to produce, and by international comparisons, Eskom's prices are much lower than they should be if you compare it to the rest of the world. You are paying about 40% less for electricity in South Africa than you would elsewhere.
But we're also getting 40% less service at least. Surely you have to admit that with the generation, the capacity problems Eskom has been experiencing, consumers cannot be expected to pay for electricity that they do not get to use consistently.
Nobody living in this country over the past 10 years can deny that Eskom has not always been at its best. We are doing everything we can to fix the company. You are absolutely right. Our own performance as Eskom has not been the best, and we are the first to admit that. We are doing everything we can to fix those things, to get the efficiencies right, to get the company working correctly. But we also do need particularly the non-paying customers to come to the party in order to reduce the load on the few that are paying. That's just the unfortunate situation that you have large parts of South Africa blankly refusing to pay for electricity, which places a lot of burden on you and I, those who are actually paying for their consumption. Yes, you are right. Eskom has not always been good, and we are the first to admit this, and we are doing what we can in order to sort out the situation. But we need every consumer of electricity to come to the party and make their own contribution.